Good morning. We'll give everybody a few minutes to get situated. That's okay. How are we doing? A couple more minutes? We can wait. Thank you. You bet. I'll get this situated for you. You bet. Yeah.
Test 1 2. Test.
Good? Not yet? Good morning, everybody. Grateful that you all are here. My name is Kristi Noem. I am the Department of Homeland Security Secretary for President Donald J. Trump, and I am so thankful for the men and women of law enforcement who have been working every single day to bring law and order and peace back to the citizens of Los Angeles and to the state of California. As you know, we've seen under this last week some operations that have been working to bring in criminals that have been out on our streets for far too long. Our HSI and ICE individuals have been out conducting operations with our government partners to make sure that these criminals, bad actors, murderers, rapists, pedophiles, traffickers, and drug traffickers are brought in and brought to justice finally under this administration. I do want to thank the men and women of law enforcement. They've been absolute rock stars in what they've done to protect this community and to protect this city. I want to specifically name those that are under the umbrella within our components, under the Department of Homeland Security. That has been our ICE officers who have been on the front line out there interdicting with many of these dangerous criminals. Also, HSI with their investigative skill set and tactical teams have been absolutely imperative to us in helping us make sure we're running operations and really targeting these bad actors. Our Federal Protective Services and also our Border Patrol agents have come and been partners with us in an incredible way. They bring a skill set that has helped us have a whole of government approach under the Department of Homeland Security that has never happened before. The assets that they have and the willingness to do their jobs that this president has allowed them to do has been absolutely incredible. But what you see standing behind me, too, is also other federal partners that have come to the table that are here to bring safety and security to the city of Los Angeles. I want to specifically thank the Army. I want to thank the Marines, the National Guard, our soldiers, our military men and women who have shown up here to help make sure that we have security. Not only do they protect our country around the world, but they're doing it every single day here in the United States of America, too, and doing it as service, public service to the people in this country because they took an oath to uphold the law. We also have a U.S. attorney here who has been aggressive, has been making sure that we don't pick winners and losers in this country, that the rule of law will be followed, and that people who break the law and perpetuate violence will be brought to justice. They will be prosecuted, and there will be consequences for that kind of activity. The Department of Justice is here and has a presence in our Incident Command Center, as well as the DEA, the FBI, and their investigative teams have been fantastic with their leadership, and we also have the IRS here that's helping us track how these violent protesters are funded, what NGOs out there, what unions, what other individuals may be funding these violent perpetuators that are in these protests that take people who may be wanting to come and be peaceful, but instead turn these into very violent activities that go after law enforcement. That's just simply not acceptable. And I also want to thank our U.S. Marshals. They've been so great in helping us to secure facilities, but also operations, and also with transportation, that as soon as someone is arrested and brought into incarceration, that they are transported out and able to face prosecution and the consequences for their crimes. I want people to know that while these officers and these agencies and our military are here doing this work and these operations, that the people across this country are so grateful. They are so grateful for the work that is being done here in Los Angeles. They are setting an example for what is happening across the country in other cities and putting together a model and a blueprint for how we can continue to work to make every single community great again and safe again for our kids and for our grandkids far into the future. I've been in many different states with all the different components that I represent over the last 4 or 5 days, and everywhere I go, people stop me and say, tell everybody who's working in Los Angeles that is working to bring safety to those city streets and to those families and protect those small business, tell them thank you. Tell them God bless you, that I hope that they are safe and they have been suffering. The people that live here under the policies of Governor Newsom and under the policies of Mayor Bass, and they recognize that it's a huge disservice to the people who have to try to raise their families here, and that these agents and that these law enforcement officers are working to change that and give them an opportunity to be successful and to live the American dream. Listen, many officers have been assaulted over the last several days. We did see before that assaults against law enforcement and ICE officers go up over 400%. In this situation, we've seen that increase even more. It's not acceptable. If you assault a law enforcement officer, we are going to come after you and we are going to arrest you, prosecute you, and put you away. That is not going to work. And under this administration with President Trump's leadership, one person is not better than another. Just because you think you're here as a citizen or because you're a member of a certain group or you're not a citizen, it doesn't mean that you're going to be protected and not face consequences from the laws that this country stands for. We have a constitution. We follow that constitution and the laws that have been passed by our Congress, and we're going to make sure they are equally applied to every single person as it applies under the Constitution here in Los Angeles, but also across the country. As our law enforcement officers have been assaulted, they've been pelted with rocks and bricks. Their cars have been set on fire. Molotov cocktails have been used. We have seen people throw bottles and hammers at them. We've also seen that they have been attacked and verbally spit on or punched or assaulted, and it's just not acceptable. The Department of Homeland Security and the officers and the agencies and the departments and the military people that are working on this operation will continue to sustain and increase our operations in this city. We are not going away. We are staying here to liberate this city from the socialist and the burdensome leadership that this governor and that this mayor have placed on this country and what they have tried to insert into this city. So I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this. Also, I want to talk specifically to the rioters and to the politicians in Los Angeles.
Half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your.
I also want to talk about specifically how many of our ICE agents have been doxxed for doing their duty, how they have been targeted, and how their families have been put in jeopardy, and that we're not going to allow that anymore as well. That those individuals who are purposely endangering our ICE agents and our law enforcement officers and their families will be prosecuted for what they are doing as far as perpetuating violence on them. I want to know that the American people are grateful for our law enforcement officers. We will always respect them, and that President Trump is thankful for the leadership that has been shown by all of these agencies. In fact, President Trump did call in, and I did visit with him today, and he also visited with all of these agencies here this morning and thanked them for what they are doing to make sure that they are protecting the United States of America. The images that we've seen out of Los Angeles the last several days has simply been un-American by the protesters and the violence that we've seen perpetuated. Masked thugs are assaulting police officers. They're setting vehicles on fire. They're waving foreign flags on American soil while burning American flags. And they've damaged public property and destroyed private businesses. We need to make sure that we are continuing to protect the citizens that live here and want this community to be safe. Let me give you just a few examples of those who have been rioting that many politicians like Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass are defending. There was a Vietnamese illegal alien who committed a mass shooting at a graduation party in 1994 that we've been able to take off the streets. A Filipino illegal alien that was convicted of an assault with intent to commit rape that we've been able to bring up into custody and incarceration. You see behind you some more profiles of individuals that have brought into custody through the operations we have here. A Mexican illegal alien convicted of willfully cruelty to a child, and on and on and on. Those individuals and those criminals are now off the streets of Los Angeles because of the activity activities that have been conducted here in the last several days and will continue to operate for days to come. When these riots first began on Friday night, a federal law enforcement building was surrounded by over 1,000 violent rioters, and it took Los Angeles Police Department 2 hours to respond. So we are going to continue to operate with our federal partners and continue to keep asking the governor and the mayor for their support and their backup in these operations to make sure that all of our law enforcement officers are protected while they do their work. We're going to protect American cities from lawlessness, and we'll do what it takes to put the American citizens first and make sure they have the opportunity to sleep safely in their beds at night. I just want to say God bless all of our men and women of the military that serve, all of those who serve in our law enforcement agencies and in public service that make great sacrifices away from their homes and from their families, but they do it because they believe in America, and they believe in freedom, and they believe in law and order, and that is what we are doing right here today and will continue to do for days to come until Los Angeles once again is at peace. So with that, we'll turn it over to our next speaker, which I believe will be Todd Lyons from ICE.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I'm Todd Lyons. I'm the acting ICE director. Also, I'm the National Incident Commander for the situation. But I would just like to say thank you to Secretary Noem. She said it best. There's really not much more I can say. It's without her leadership that we wouldn't be out here conducting this mission. President Trump fully has our back on this one, and we're doing the will of the American people. I want to thank the brave men and women of ICE, HSI, ERO, our attorneys with the Office of Public Legal Counsel, because without them, this would not be possible. They put their lives on the line every day. You also see my fellow agency heads here with me and many that are not up here on stage. The men and women of law enforcement have been putting themselves in harm's way every night since we've been here in Los Angeles. What we've done here is taken a whole government approach for this immigration mission. You know, under the last administration, there was millions upon millions of people that we don't know who came into this country. They were let in, that now have turned violent criminals. Also, we have known suspected terrorists and gang members. Since January 20th, we've been making arrests in Los Angeles and all around the country. But specifically, we've focused on gang members, human traffickers, violent drug dealers, and rapists. You know, the Secretary brought it up. You know, the rhetoric of a lot of elected officials and people, what really caused this. We've heard so much. If ICE had a criminal warrant, if ICE had a judicial warrant, cities would cooperate with us. On this past Friday, you saw that. You saw the men and women of ICE and these other DOJ partners executing a criminal warrant on a criminal immigration enforcement case. Yet the city turned against us and we had violent protesters. And that just won't happen because the men and women of ICE won't be deterred by this. We're going to be out there every day conducting our law enforcement mission. No protesters are going to block our way because the brave men and women of ICE and these DOJ partners you see up here, along with our partners with the Los Angeles Police Department, are going to ensure that we handle these protesters, but we are out there safely conducting these operations, and we will get the worst off the street. And I also like to thank the Department of Defense and National Guard who has come here to assist us on that. You know, we will prosecute all of these cases. Just, you know, the Secretary highlighted so many, you see them up here. But we have a wanted man from Mexico who fled and hid in Los Angeles for killing a woman. You have an MS-13 gang member who killed 2 individuals during a botched catalytic converter theft ring case. These aren't the individuals you want in Los Angeles. These aren't the individuals you want in the United States. ICE is going to keep doing their job, and we're going to do it to our best of our ability with our DOJ partners. But with the Secretary's leadership and the full support of the U.S. Attorney to prosecute these criminals, we will continue enforcing the immigration mission that President Trump and the American people expect us to do. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the FBI.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. My name is Akil Davis. I'm the Assistant Director in charge of FBI Los Angeles. As you know, the FBI has been assisting the Department of Homeland Security with immigration enforcement since February. We're just one of many field offices doing this nationwide as directed by the Attorney General, and we're accustomed to providing investigative and technical assistance to law enforcement at all levels on a regular basis. We have agents embedded with our operational teams with DHS. Our help vary depending on what DHS needs, and they let us know moment by moment. We have significant tactical resources across the enterprise here throughout our 7-county AOR to assist and support these efforts. That said, we find ourselves defending operations from violent offenders. The FBI safeguards constitutionally protected rights. We investigate civil rights violations on a daily basis, but some activity keeps taking place among righteous protesters is not civil. It's violent. We're going to investigate allegations of violence, whether it's assault on law enforcement officers or civilians, looting, arson, doxing, or damage to public property. So please, I'm asking the community, do not put your life in jeopardy by hurting someone or destroying property. You will be held accountable by the FBI, and it's not worth it. I'd like to highlight two cases for you to show what the FBI's line of effort is in this overall DHS-led operation. Elpidio Reyna is a fugitive. He is wanted for the alleged assault of a federal officer in the city of Paramount in California on June 7th, 2025. Reyna allegedly threw rocks at law enforcement vehicles on Alondra Boulevard in Paramount and injured a federal officer. Reyna is 40 years old, weighs around 165 pounds, and is 5'7". Reyna has a tattoo on his left arm with the word Carmen on it. We have photos of him on display. Reyna will be caught, and when he is, he will face a statutory maximum penalty of 8 years in prison. This is such a priority for the United States government that there is a reward of up to $50,000 for information leading to his arrest. Let me repeat that. $50,000 for information leading to his arrest. The second case I'd like to highlight is on a subject named Alejandro Oriana. Alejandro was providing masks and face shields to violent rioters throughout the week and was arrested by our SWAT teams this morning. With the success and appreciation and assistance from the United States Attorney's Office, that case is ongoing, but Oriana is in custody as we speak. If you have information or evidence of violent acts, please either call 1-800-CALL-FBI, visit tips.fbi.gov, or send images or video to our digital tip line at fbi.gov/LA Office Assault. Thank you, and I will now turn it over to Chief Bovino, United States Border Patrol. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. I'm Greg Bovino, Chief Patrol Agent of the El Centro Border Patrol Sector and Lead Federal Coordinator for Customs and Border Protection entities here in Los Angeles. Entities include U.S. Border Patrol, Office of Field Operations, and CBP Air and Marine. We have several hundred agents and officers here in Los Angeles right now as we speak. Our primary mission here in Los Angeles revolves around Title 8 United States Code. Let me say that again. Title 8 United States Code. Those are our immigration statutes. If you look behind us at these pictures on the wall, immigration's not a victimless crime. A lot of bad people, a lot of bad things are in our country now, including Los Angeles. For Customs and Border Protection, that's why we're here right now, is to remove those bad people and bad things, whether illegal aliens, drugs, or otherwise. We're here and we're not going away. Border Patrol, Office of Field Operations, and Air and Marine, you'll see us in Los Angeles. You'll continue to see us in Los Angeles, not going anywhere soon. As for the violence and the demonstrators, violence will not deter us, the CBP mission here in Los Angeles. I believe we saw that last Sunday night out at Paramount. We continued to conduct our patrols as we saw necessary in the middle of that riot. And we'll continue to do that from here on out. Our allied law enforcement agencies, many of whom you've already heard from, whether it's HSI, ERO, FBI, ATF, and all others, join with us as we conduct that Title 8 mission. Very historic. First time I've ever seen it in my almost 30-year career. It's actually breathtaking. Many millions of illegal aliens have passed across that border over the past several years. It's our job to get them out. And that's what we are going to do, and that's what we're doing right now. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kenny Cooper. I'm a Special Agent in Charge, ATF, LA Field Division. The Department of Justice will not be deterred from enforcing this nation's laws. ATF is on the ground doing what we do best, fighting violent crime, and protecting our communities regardless of the environment around us. Our agents are trained to operate in high-threat, high-tension situations. When federal authorities move to execute court-authorized warrants, we support that mission with professionalism, precision, and resolve. ATF stands shoulder to shoulder with our federal partners in this whole-of-government approach. ATF stands also shoulder to shoulder, to carry out our immigration enforcement mission. If a criminal threat intersects with that mission, we bring our full capacities to the table. Let's be clear, obstructing a lawful federal operation, especially through violence or threats, is not protective activity. It's a crime. And those who cross that line will be held to account. We don't get to pick and choose when to enforce the law. Our job is to uphold it, always. ATF will continue to pursue violent offenders, support our partners, and keep doing the hard work this public demands. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bill Saley, the United States Attorney for the Central District of California. On behalf of my office and the Department of Justice, I'm here to show our support and our collaboration with the Department of Homeland Security in their mission to protect the American people and to do immigration enforcement operations, specifically at targeted known criminals, which is the primary focus of most of our missions to date. I want to also thank the National Guard and the military. We had judicial warrants to do what we did on both Friday and Saturday. And the amount of resistance and organized agitators that showed up to try to impede us was overwhelming. And we're really grateful to the President for deploying the Guard, which allowed us to continue our mission undeterred, to enforce the law, and to keep our people and our buildings safe. And that's really important. And my office has been aggressive in bringing charges. We charged several people over the weekend who dared to assault our agents. They threw rocks, they threw stones, they were breaking up concrete. It was out of control and it was violent. And some people in the state of California have been conditioned to think that there's no consequences for criminal activity. And you know, that might be true for the state of California, but it's not true with the federal government. And we will bring charges and you will go to federal prison. This is the federal government. This is not the state government. As the President said, if you spit, we hit, and we'll hit you with a felony. And we're committed to that. We're continuing to conduct. We're looking at hundreds of suspects. We're collecting media, social media, videos. We'll be combing over that stuff for weeks and months with the FBI. And just because you think you got away with something over the weekend, think again. In a few months from now, you could get a knock at your door. So anyone who's thinking about showing up to these protests to commit violence, I really caution you to think again. It's not worth it. We charged 2 individuals yesterday with throwing Molotov cocktails at police officers. That is extremely dangerous and could lead to death. They're now looking at explosives charges charged by the federal government and more charges to come. So I just want to reiterate that we will be aggressive, we will be filing, and we will be swift in our deliverance of justice. And I want to thank our partners at the FBI and the ATF and DHS and all our agencies for their hard work. It has not been easy. They've been working around the clock, but they're undeterred. And I can tell you, speaking to them, they are more committed than ever to delivering on the promise of the President to make America safe again. And we need that in California, probably more than anywhere else. So with that, I thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that, and everyone for their comments. And with that, we're going to open it up to questions, but we're going to keep it specifically to questions that pertain to this topic and some of the operations that are ongoing here in Los Angeles and how we will sustain and build on those operations in the future. So do you want to go first?
Matt Rivers,
Yes.
ABC News.
Yes.
A question for you about future planning. We know that there's more protests planned for this weekend.
Yes.
Is DHS actively planning on requesting more assistance from DoD, more troops, given those protests that are coming? Is this the administration's new playbook?
You know, what I would say is that I'm not going to telegraph exact statistics and numbers and what we are doing as far as participation with the military, but we do have several thousand engaged here in Los Angeles right now. We are assessing this weekend's threat levels, not just here, but in cities across the country, and pre-deploying assets. So we're using every tool that we have in our toolbox and pre-staging people, task forces, special swift response teams, people with specific gifts and talents that they can contribute to areas that we think they may be needed this weekend, so that we can prevent any kind of violence from being
But
perpetuated.
it's on the table, the idea of bringing more troops.
You know, I would say the president has the right to utilize every authority that he has under the Constitution to utilize Title X and to bring in military assets and National Guard units as needed, and he'll continue to assess that and use his prerogative to decide when it's necessary. Yeah.
Madam Secretary, you had previously asked the Defense Secretary to direct troops to arrest people. Is that something you'd still like to see?
You know, I think what I had talked was a conversation with the Department of Defense to ask them to use the authorities that they have in conjunction with the president to make sure that there's consequences for people who perpetuate violence. So that is what the assessment is, and they're being utilized to the fullest extent to which the president wishes to at this point in time. And I'm so thankful we have a U.S. attorney and a Department of Justice that is going out there and prosecuting these crimes as well. That's something that was very different under the Biden administration, that is a game changer now. We have a president now that believes in the rule of law and that is going to make sure that when people break the law, no matter who you are, that you will be prosecuted and you will be brought to justice. Yes, sir.
Madam Secretary,
Yes.
Salvador Duran with Innovation Network.
Yep.
Two questions for you. The first one is, do you have an estimated number of people that have been detained and deported? And the second question I have to ask you, would you please address Senator Padilla's interruption to your press conference?
You know, I'm not-
Consider
Yeah.
even pressing charges for what we just witnessed here.
Oh, you know what? I don't even know the senator. He did not request a meeting with me or to speak with me. So when I leave here, I'll have a conversation with him and visit and find out really what his concerns were. I think everybody in America would agree that that wasn't appropriate. That if you wanted to have a civil discussion, especially as a leader, a public official, that you would reach out and try to have a conversation. For instance, I have left voicemails for Governor Newsom wanting to have a conversation. Has he returned them? No, he hasn't. I know that the White House has reached out and had conversations with Mayor Bass as well. And so that's what you do to try to start these conversations and ask for partnerships. Unfortunately, we haven't met that in this area. I'll visit with the senator and find out really what his concerns are and what we can do.
And as far as the estimate number of people that have...
You know, what I would say is that we have over 1,500 people that we have been interdicting with, arresting for different situations, and we will continue to build on that. That's been just over the last few days. Know that we have more assets now today than we did yesterday. We had more yesterday than we did the day before, so we are only building momentum. This is only going to continue and be increased until we have peace on the streets of Los Angeles. The president has told me, Christy, use everything that we have to make sure that the citizens of Los Angeles know that we care about them, that they have lived with crime for far too long, and that we want them to be able to walk their children to school in the morning and feel safe. We want them to, small businesses downtown, to not have to worry about getting burned to the ground because some organized crime nonprofit funder is deciding that now is the time to send a political message or an agenda. So we're going to stay here and build our operations until we make sure that we liberate the city of Los Angeles. Yes, back there. I'm going to do two more if that's okay. Go ahead.
Can you talk a little bit about the specific number in terms of immigration-related arrests that you made, both daily and in LA specifically?
Well, we literally have tens of thousands of targets. So I think that's what's more important. People should know that there are millions of people that are in this city illegally, and that we have, I would say, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of targets that we will be going after. Remember, this president has repeatedly said that he's going after criminals and the worst of the worst. And we're going after people that are in work sites that are trafficking drugs, that are trafficking human beings. We're DNA testing children because many times when you see people claiming that their family members or the children they have with them that are theirs, many times when we DNA testing, they're not. They're really peddling our children, and they have human slavery going on, child trafficking, pedophilia. So we are going after those individuals that we have intelligence on, and we will continue to only build on that. And yes, I'm sorry I didn't get to you right away.
There is some rhetoric out there that some of the people who have been detained, arrested in detention are not criminals or do not have a criminal history. Can you address that? There's a lot of rhetoric out there that claims...
Well, there's a lot of rhetoric and there's a lot of false information and a lot of fake news. So I'd appreciate it if you guys would start covering the facts. And we'll get you all that information that we possibly can. Now, there may be people that because of the targets that we were out there arresting, that were with those individuals, they were collaterals that were spending time with them, and all those people will be vetted. And remembering, still in the United States, if you come into this country illegally, you have committed a crime. And so when you do that, we have to go through and follow the law and make sure that we're adjudicating that and dealing with that appropriately. So the president's targets and priorities are the criminals that have perpetuated violence, but also, once again, I'm going to remind everybody, you have the opportunity to self-deport. We will buy you a plane ticket. We will give you $1,000 when you land in your home country or if you go home to Mexico, and then we will get you scheduled so that you can come back to this country legally. You will have the opportunity to come back to the United States of America. If you don't do that and you wait until we come and arrest you and have to remove you, you will never get the chance to come and live in the United States of America again. The president has been clear on this. So I'd encourage you to get on the CBP Home app, and you can self-deport today, and we will facilitate that. You can take your entire family with you, people and your loved ones, and we will facilitate you coming to this country correctly. Everybody has the opportunity to do that. If you wait until we have to arrest you, you will never get to be an American, much less live here and work here and be able to pursue the American dream. Last question.
Madam Secretary, Alejandro Ortiz with Telemundo 52.
Yes.
You just said that you go after the worst of the worst. But we've seen ICE arresting immigrants in front of their court hearings when they go to their annual immigration check-ins, even if they're going
And remember,
through the
these are
legal
people-
process. Are we sending the message as a country that people, even with no criminal record, and that they're taking the legal correct path, are not safe from
If they took the
detention?
legal correct path, they would have come here legally. They wouldn't have come into our country illegally. Second of all, they have final removal orders. They have final removal orders, and we're following.
That's a civil offense, but not a criminal record.
It is actually under the acts that the president has invoked through his executive orders. It actually is a criminal offense. And so one of the things that we need to remember is that when you're going out there and talking about what is happening with individuals who are in this country illegally, is that they have the opportunity every single day to return back home, and we will work with them and facilitate that and work with their families. But if they choose to wait back and to not make that decision today, then they are subject to this type of operation that will target those that have criminal activity and backgrounds and perpetuators of violence first. Those are our targets. But we are going to make sure that we're bringing peace back to the city of Los Angeles.
She told me she has hundreds of cases of people coming in asking for asylum. They go to their immigration check-in.
So my only question to you, I'd say a question back to you is, which laws in the United States should be enforced and which ones shouldn't? I mean, my job, here's the deal, guys. My job is not to pick and choose which laws we enforce and which ones we don't. We have laws in this country, and they matter. If you want the law changed, go to Congress. When's the last time you went to Capitol Hill and told your senator or representative to change it? That's what they need to do. This is the perfect time for Congress to make a decision on how they want people in this country to be able to have an opportunity to come here legally and to fix this. We, as law enforcement officers and as a national security department and agency, my job is to uphold the law, and that's what I will continue to do. Yes, sir, I'm going to finish with you, and I kind of like the Bass Pro hat, too, so I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to go to you. So go ahead. Yes.
Is this unique to Los Angeles?
Nope, these operations... I will say these operations have been much more difficult because of Los Angeles and California's sanctuary policies. SB 54 has been difficult for us, and we don't have the backup of your local law enforcement. That's put our officers in danger. In fact, even this morning, we had Highway Patrol that we were working with. I was talking to officers. They were so happy that we were here, and they were grateful that we were here interdicting with these criminals. And then the governor found out that I was here, and he pulled them off of me and told him to go back home and to not cooperate with us anymore. So if you don't think your governor's being political, he gets up every single day and the first hat he puts on is the political one, and then he makes a decision that's best for him and his family, and then he makes a decision that's best for what his future is, and then maybe 10 or 15 steps down the line, he'll decide what's best for his people. That's what your governor does. Next, I'm going to come to you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Can you talk about the potential change in policy with President Trump talking about maybe suggesting an exemption for longstanding farm workers and hotel workers?
Yeah, I think the president recognizes that we have some Department of Labor regulations and laws that we can utilize in certain situations, and he and I have discussed this at length and with other cabinet officials, and it's the president and I will continue to look at that and evaluate what we can do as far as individuals and facilitating a workforce in this country that we know are people who want to be here legally, what the consequences are for them breaking the law, because everybody, when they break the law, there has to be consequences. But what we can do to facilitate making sure that those who really do love the United States of America have the opportunity at some point to live here and to be a part of our future and to be a part of this country and our economy and the dream of raising their children here. All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. I've been traveling around Los Angeles all morning. I saw a lot of graffiti, a lot of destruction. I saw quite a bit of where we saw some of the activity. We were staying close to downtown where we were last night. It was very interesting to me. I would have preferred to have gotten into some areas that I know I was respecting the curfew because I landed after midnight and then we left the hotel this morning before 5 a.m., around 5 a.m. So, but some of those areas that we were able to see, it makes me sad. This is a phenomenal state. And this is such a beautiful city.
So
and people dream.
But you only saw downtown since you've been.
No, I've been driving. I mean, we've been in the car most of the morning doing different operations and out with our agents. But I mean, are you not? Don't you want your downtown to be beautiful?
No, I just wanted to know.
I would say.
To know your impression of
Yeah.
what you've seen, if it was only downtown.
Yeah.
Or if you've seen other parts of.
No, I mean, I've been here many times before. But as far as this trip, we've been out on operations with law enforcement officers, and so we've covered quite a bit of territory. And I'll still be here doing different things in different areas. But I would say that everybody should want their downtown. And if you're a business owner in a downtown, if you're a family that lives there, you want it to be safe and you want it to be beautiful and somewhere people want to come. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. We will take any follow-ups later. Thank you.
You bet.